Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in this little rickety old converted garage. I am, of course, your host, John Campea. Good to have you guys here as we talk about our favorite things in the world, the things that give us joy and make us happy, movies and movie news, TV and streaming and all that good stuff. Of course, we're joined today by our technical director, Jonathan Voico, all the way out in Burbank.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? Hope everybody's doing good.
Coming to us a little bit further away, all the way out there in Texas, Chris Parker, a.k.a. 3C Films. Chris, how you doing, man?
Hey, doing good. Don't know if I'm happier to be here or the fact that I finally got the wet.
Oh, you got it!
The splooge cup.
You got the sploosh cup.
I had to.
Oh my God, hold that up
awesome.
again. Dude, that is way bigger than I thought it would be.
I just lost the splooge.
Yeah.
The sploosh.
It'll make more in about 3-4 hours.
That's like that could hold a massive martini in that thing.
I gotta say, that is way bigger than I thought it would be.
It is
Actually,
pretty
that's
huge.
kind of impressive. That's pretty cool. Anyway, Guy, of course, most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show a part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a bunch of predetermined topics we have lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show is when I'm going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or an issue you'd like me to address, as long as I deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, go ahead and fire it on into our super chats if you're watching live. And you do have to be watching live to do it. And we'll get around to answering those in the second part of the show. All right, guys, with all that down, let's get things kicked off here, shall we? And we're going to start off with this. Now, I was interested in the God of War series as soon as they announced that they were doing it because it's God of War. And I think that I think gamers tend to really over exaggerate how many games are actually like cinematic level storytelling. I think 99% of them are not. But one of them that absolutely is God of War. So when they announced that they were doing God of War, I was like, okay. Then I got ridiculously excited when they announced that the greatest showrunner in the history of television, Ronald D. Moore, who did my all-time favorite television show, Battlestar Galactica. And of course, he's done one of Rob's favorite shows, For All Mankind. And he was going to be running God of War. I'm like, oh my God. And then I got even more excited when one of my other top 3 all-time favorite television shows, Sons of Anarchy, one of their stars, Ryan Hurst, Ope, was going to be playing Kratos. And I was really excited to hear about that. And I was really excited for him that he was getting like finally this big lead vehicle for himself. So excited for him. And then last night I got back from the Lord of the Rings in concert event and I saw this. This breaks my heart. God of War shocker, Kratos actor Ryan Hurst has to be recast due to an on-set injury. Variety writes the following. Prime Video will recast the lead role in its upcoming adaptation of God of War after star Ryan Hurst was injured on set. Variety has confirmed. Hurst has been set to play Kratos, the titular God of War, and Prime Video even released a first look at Hurst in the role this past February. But then the Sony Picture TV Amazon MGM series, an adaptation of the PlayStation video game, suffered a setback in June when Hurst was injured. Prime Video declined comment on the news, which was first reported by Deadline. Hurst has been a part of the God of War universe for some time, having previously voiced the Norse god Thor in the video game God of War Ragnarok. Now another actor will have to come in and appear. So basically what happened is they described the injury as a torn bicep. That ain't, number one, that doesn't feel very good. And number two, it's not one of these things that just heals up. I can't remember which one it was, but it might've been Triple H. I was watching wrestling and I think it's Triple H tore his bicep. And when you watch the replay of it, you could see his bicep and all of a sudden it deflated like a balloon like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he was out for like a year and a half or something like that. And the thing is, they're saying the just general recovery is going to be 6 months.
Oh yeah.
But before he
Minimum.
can actually properly use it again, a year. And you know why this breaks my heart? Number one, he's losing this role, but on top of all that, apparently he spent like 8 months putting on 30 to 40. I mean, Opie is already a really big guy.
Yeah.
he's a big guy, but he wanted to be monstrous. So apparently he put on another 30 to 40 pounds of muscle. He worked so hard at this. And I'm not going to be one of those guys that goes, come on, Amazon, just wait. A year's a year. I mean, if it was 3 months, I'd say, yeah, hold off. But a year is a year. And I got to tell you guys, I'm just heartbroken about this. Like, I have no doubt that they're going to be able to go out and find another actor and bring them in. And I'm sure they're going to do a great job. And it's still Ronald D. Moore. And I'm still sure the show is going to be great. But I was really excited to have Ope. I was really excited to have Ryan Hurst get this break. Because, and by the way, we just saw him in the Odyssey. Like, we just got to watch him in the Odyssey, right? And I'm thinking, and this was so bad because I'm watching the Odyssey and I'm seeing him on screen. I'm like, oh man, now we're going to get to see him in God of War too. Then I got home and read that news. Anyway, Chris, you saw this news. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, like you, devastated and heartbroken for the actor, because this could have been a role of a lifetime. It could have been defining for his career or something he really could have been known for. They had big plans with it to go further. It is also just devastating seeing some of the people trying to twist it and go, this is all made up. They just wanted to recast him because he wasn't good enough. But
nonsense.
Yeah,
So
nonsense.
stupid.
You read the details and like they already filmed 4 episodes and now they're going to have to go back and redo those episodes with whoever they now cast. I mean, if that actually that's an expensive recast. I don't think they would actually go ahead and do something like that. So it's really sad to hear. I hope somehow, some way, if season 2 happens, they can still include him in maybe a separate role, something else, throw him in there. But this is definitely just terrible to hear.
By the
And
way,
they're
go ahead, Jonathan.
Well, I was going to say, it's not just that they have to recast and move forward. I mean, they've got to reshoot everything. And even they're going to have to reshoot the kids scenes too, because like they acknowledged, when you're that young, you grow really fast. And we're talking
quick.
Goodness.
now.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
Now, thankfully, they weren't done. I mean, they weren't done shooting the season.
4 episodes, I think.
But
4
still,
episodes.
that's
But that all has
expensive.
to be reshot.
That
By the
probably
way-
also contributed to why they didn't wait a year, because then that kid
Yeah.
would have really outgrown.
Oh,
Then you have
yeah.
to recast
Oh yeah,
him.
he would have looked like a totally different kid.
Yeah.
He's like, Father, should we go and look for to? Hey, Dad. Like a year later, I lost who it was, but I just brought up the comment. One of our viewers in the live chat just had a great idea. As mentioned, Thor in God of War Ragnarok is modeled after and voiced by Ryan Hurst. Maybe bring him back for season 2 and let him actually be Thor. There would be something very poetic and nice about this. Again, I'm sure, guys, that the show will be fine. I just feel so heartbroken for Ryan Hurst because I love that guy. I think he's a tremendous actor, and it just really sucks. Anyway, guys, whatever you think about this whole thing, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Some time ago, some of you guys might remember this. A couple of months ago, I got an email from someone that said, hey, they have met with and they're looking at this guy to play Batman in the new DCU. Now, I get literally hundreds of those a month, and 95% of the time, it's just all smoke. It means nothing. So, like most of the time, I saw that and went, okay, it's interesting, but whatever, and I just brushed it aside. Now, sometime after that, and I mentioned this on the show before, sometime after that, I was in conversation with somebody else who then also brought up that same name. And it's not a name I was expecting at all. And you'll hear why in a minute. And I went, huh. So I thought about talking about it on the show, but I decided it's still not enough. That's still not enough to feel comfortable going on my show and talking about it. Then what happened was like 2 days ago, I was just, chatting with another online film person, and they just asked me, hey, by the way, who was it that you had heard? And I mentioned the name, and the person said, dead serious, I heard that name too. Wasn't the only name they heard, but they said, that's a name that got brought up to me once too. And I thought, okay, you know what I'm going to do? We're going to talk about it today, but I want to be very, very, very clear about something here. very clear before we get into anything. Guys, file this firmly into the rumor mill, okay? File this firmly under the rumor mill. Let me double down on this by saying I'm so sick and tired of me just saying something casually and having 18 websites run it as headlines. Guys, nobody run this as a headline.
John.
I don't even
You're about to set the internet on fire, John.
I know. I don't even have a lot of confidence in this. This is not me reporting a news story. This is me with a couple of buddies sitting here shooting the shit about just some stuff we heard, right? Do not take this overly seriously. Don't tell people this is who's playing Batman. Can I be more clear about this? Okay. All right. So I mentioned when I first brought this up, I mentioned it's not a name I would have expected because I didn't even recognize the name. I mean, I know who it is, but I didn't even recognize the name at first. The guy I'm hearing right now, the guy I've heard mentioned a couple of times is an actor by the name of Mitchell. Dustin Hoffman is an actor by the name of Mitchell Slaggert.
All right.
Now, for those of you who do not know Mitchell Slaggert, and I'm sure that's probably many of us, but he most recently was the daughter's boyfriend, the football hero in Landman. Prior to that, his most notable thing was he was a regular on a series called The Sex Lives of College Girls, which I admit I have never seen. So I don't know the sex lives of college girls. Even when I was in college, I didn't know the sex lives.
Even from personal experience.
Yeah, even back then, I didn't know the sex lives of college girls. Anyway, so apparently, this is a guy who a number of names have come out and mentioned. Now, he's 32 years old. I know he looks significantly younger when you look at these shots, and I'm sure
he's got the triceps there.
He's look, and I saw a recent picture of him too. He's jacked. This is a big dude. Good looking, square jawed dude. Now, this would run pretty consistent with how James Gunn has cast. Because when you look at David Cornsweet, that was another name. Yeah, he had that one big credit, Hollywood, right? Or Hollywoodland, one of the two. I can't remember the name of it. But he had that one credit. But other than that, nobody knew the name David Cornsweet. He's kind of age appropriate for that Superman, all that kind of stuff. I liked him in Landman, but I got to be honest with you guys. I've never seen anything else he was in. So I've got this one part he had in Landman, and that's it. So again, age appropriate, definitely got the looks. I liked what little I saw of him. And now when I said the third person who told me they heard that name too, they might have just heard it from the same person who sent it to me. So that might not mean much. Do I actually think that Mitchell Slaggert is going to be our Batman? Well, I just finished telling you a couple of the reasons why it's kind of plausible. My main reason I don't completely buy it is because I don't believe this Batman movie is going to happen.
Oh,
because I mean,
I was about to bring that up.
Yeah, were you going to bring that up too?
With the delay of the Batman, well, once you delay that Batman, to me, it's also delaying Brave and the Bold.
Right.
Every time that's how I see it.
We don't even have a shooting date for Brave and the Bold. I mean, I don't think we were getting that movie until 2030 anyway. But you guys know my general belief is I think James Gunn is going to quit and leave DC after his contract expires in the second half of 2027. So I don't even think this movie's really going to happen. But let's say it is. Let's say Brave and the Bold is going to happen. Let's say that's a thing. Okay. I'm still not sure I buy it because again, what I'm hearing this from is still very thin and very loose. But again, talking about this not as a news story, guys, just all of us online friends shooting the shit. I'm just hey, this is one of the names I heard, probably means nothing. But good looking kid, got the physical attributes. I like what little I've seen of him in his acting. And so I at least bring this up so that if 6 months from now they announce Batman and they say the name Mitchell Slaggert, at least those of us watching today's show can go, we knew that, or at least we
That's
heard that at some point.
A good call if you got it.
Again, but probably again means nothing. Don't get terribly excited about it. Anyway, Chris, I really, other than when I read the credit of Landman, I'm going, oh, that's him. Are you familiar with Mitchell Slaggert or any of his work at all? Have you heard anything about that?
No, the only thing I'm going to be familiar with is this recent Google search I just did of Mitchell Slaggert shirtless. Shirtless, because it's what you have to check when it's your Batman.
You got to
right?
check physique.
And yeah, he's got the chiseled jaw and all that. So to his acting ability, I unfortunately can't speak too much on. But I mean, if he went through the rigorous casting process, he did an audition, and he's what James Gunn is aiming for his universe, I'm going to trust it so far because I have liked the casting choices in the DCU. That hasn't been any of my issues with it. So this is cool to hear. It's exciting, but it's just that thing of like, well, okay, if you're trying to cast now, I mean, you're not casting somebody to then start shooting the movie 4 years from now.
Exactly.
It's like you're trying to do it within the next year or year and a half. But I'm like, even doing that would, if that was the case, then you would align a new Batman movie releasing around the same time as your current Batman series. And it just, to me, that's still like, just doesn't seem like something they would actually do. I know we in the movie space, we could differentiate that and we would buy a ticket to both. But I just don't know if they have a lot of faith in the audience to make that distinction as well. But this is a name with the chisel jaw and all that I'm like, okay, I'd be happy to see it.
By the way, I fully expect in the next 12 hours 2 tweets. One either from Mitchell himself or his PR agent saying this is news to us, or James Gunn going, what the actual fuck is Campea smoking? None of this is even remotely true. I fully expect one of those 2 tweets.
Well,
along the way, so
I fully expect I fully expect that people are still going to run with this story as that it's fact, and will quote you despite what you have said.
By the way, this great comment somebody sent in because Chris is searching Mitchell Slaggert shirtless. Pray for Chris's algorithm now.
Yeah, gonna have to explain that one.
What kind of ads are you going to be getting on your stream here pretty soon? Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I'm highly dubious of any validity to this, but again, it's a name I never would have guessed because I don't even know the name. But are you more did you watch The Secret Lives of Sex Girls? It did have a pretty big audience. What do you think about him as a performer? Do you think there could be anything to this, or is it just all smoke? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still have a lot of things to talk about here, including the fact that we're going to play ourselves a little game of overreaction. And then we got to talk about a couple things Odyssey. Number one, I'm going to give you, and Chris will give you some input too here on our review of the new Christopher film, The Odyssey, and the fact that The Odyssey just broke the 2026 box office record, beating out Toy Story 5 for the biggest box office on its preview nights. How big of a deal or not big of a deal is that? We'll talk about that in a little bit here. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank the sponsor, or at least one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at BetterHelp. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Look, guys, we talk about mental health a lot around here and a lot more openly these days, but actually raising your hand and asking for help, it can still feel incredibly hard. I mean, we wouldn't hesitate to tell a friend it's good to talk to somebody, but society still makes us think twice when it's our turn. BetterHelp is working to bridge that gap. They are the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 6 million people globally with a network of over 30,000 fully licensed, high-quality therapists who work under a strict code of conduct. And the bottom line is that the data shows it works, holding an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp handles the initial matching work for you through a short questionnaire tailored to your needs and preferences. Plus, their industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they usually get it right the first time, but if you ever want to switch, you can do so at any time. Don't let stigma stand in the way of support. Start therapy with BetterHelp. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's betterhelp.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's go on to this, shall we? we got Chris here, so we're going to play ourselves a little game of overreaction. The way overreaction works is really simple. I put out a call on you guys on the YouTube channel a little bit earlier today, asking for you guys to send us your hottest of hot takes. You guys sent in a bunch of them, and now Chris and I are going to adjudicate whether your hot take is an overreaction or not an overreaction. So, Jonathan, what do we got up here first?
All right. Chris, you're a veteran with this game now, so we're going to start with you. Is this an overreaction? We're going to hear from Delayed Critique. Spider-Man Brand New Day will have a bigger opening weekend than Avengers Doomsday.
Do not think that is an overreaction. I think if you look at a lot of the factors, well, the last movie almost cracked the 2 billion mark. I know that's not the opening weekend, but that's still size and an interest. And with Doomsday, you have a lot of things in there I'm excited for and I want to see. But you think about like the X-Men are a big draw in there. X-Men just came back in Deadpool Wolverine. Chris Evans is a big draw in there. He just came back in Deadpool Wolverine. Feels like some of the things people will be excited for, but I feel like a new Spider-Man movie could honestly, do numbers like that.
I'm going to go the opposite on you on that. I'm going to call this an overreaction because you are absolutely right to point out the last Spider-Man nearly made $2 billion. The last Avengers movie nearly made $3 billion. And you're right to point out the fact that we got, with the Deadpool and Wolverine made 1.3 highest grossing R-rated film in history. You've got Robert Downey Jr. back. You got Chris Evans back. The MCU seems to be on a little bit of an upswing now after a few years of struggling, all that kind of stuff. So because of all of that, I just don't see any reason to believe that Spider-Man, that'll have Spider-Man and Punisher and Family Barbecue Hulk coming back. Whereas over here, you got about 75 other characters. Look, the opening of Spider-Man is going to be monstrous. We've been talking about it. I mean, it'd be 200 plus million, 230 plus, whatever. We'll figure that out as we get closer. But I just don't see it being remotely plausible that it could be a bigger opening weekend. And here's the other thing, Chris. The better Spider-Man is, the bigger the opening of Avengers Doomsday is going to be.
That is
because
true.
Spider-Man is going to create a bunch of hype. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go with overreaction on this one. All right, Jonathan, what do we got up next?
Okay, is this an overreaction, John? We're going to hear from Josh Miller. The extended cuts of The Lord of the Rings are better than the theatrical cuts.
Oh, this is an old debate around here. That's an overreaction. Yeah, I know it is the cool thing to say that, the extended cuts are better. And listen, I really enjoy the extended cuts of the Lord of the Rings film very, very much. But I enjoy them as somebody who loves the original films and gets to see more color put into it. You know what I mean? Those extra scenes that they're really good. But at the end of the day, like even though they're good scenes, cutting them out of the film, the film, despite the fact that those Lord of the Rings films, the original theatrical versions are so long, they feel so short because it's pacing. I remember once Mel Gibson, I talk about this sometimes, but on his DVD director's commentary of Braveheart, Mel Gibson talked about, we had this scene in here that was this, and this. He goes, we had a lot of really great scenes I cut out of the movie. And he said this, I love this comment. He says, cutting a scene out of a movie is like killing one of your own children because you love it. You've spent months working on it. You maybe had 10,000 people working on a set and on location, and then you just cut it out of the movie. He goes, but you have to just not decide that's a good scene, put it in. He said, is that scene contributing to the flow of the movie? And so I know I'm in the minority here, Chris, but I'm going to say it is an overreaction to say that the extended versions are better. I don't know. What do you think about this?
No, actually, I agree with you on this. You think about it in just the awards, all those movies won as is they were. And I feel like sometimes these extended cuts, they work where maybe not as a companion isn't the right word, but as a companion piece, but they give you a deeper appreciation from what you already saw and all that. I think on their own release just that way, I don't know if they'd get as much love or praise, especially with those kind of runtimes. But yeah, I can see why with how much they add on to the movie.
All right, Jonathan, what do we got up next?
All right, Chris, back over to you. Is this an overreaction? We're going to hear from Matt Says Hello. We will never have a solo Superman gross over $1 billion at the box office.
My heart wants to say that's an overreaction, but the numbers don't lie. To me, Superman should be the number one hero in the world. Like that's just the way I've seen and grown up looking at that character, and it just sucks that he doesn't seem to get all that close. For like I said, I'd want to say it's an overreaction, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, you know what? I have to agree with you on this because look, we've talked about this on our show a lot. I'm sure you've talked about this before too, Chris, is the fact that Superman, the things that make Superman so great is what also makes Superman a very challenging movie to make, right? Like Superman is Superman. Like what can you bring up that is legitimately a threat to him? If you ever do, every villain you bring in has to literally be absolute god tier. Yeah. And then, you know, with his classic kind of, gosh golly, Boy Scoutisms, it's a lot easier. It's not easy to make a good Batman movie. I'm just saying it's a lot easier to take a character like Batman, who's got all the human frailties with all the awesomeness, and is just a very morally interesting character to make. And I think because of that Superman to me is always going to be one of the pantheon of the great comic book characters. And I'll always love going to see Superman films. I mean, obviously I got Henry back here, but I agree with Chris on this. I don't think it's an overreaction at all, unfortunately, to say a solo Superman movie is probably never going to make $1 billion on its own. All right, Jonathan, what do we got up next?
All right, John, back over to you. Is this an overreaction? We're going to hear from Anthony C. The new Harry Potter series will be the most watched pilot in its first 24 hours that has ever been.
You know what? This is one of those situations where I first got a glimpse of this and my instant reaction is, oh, well, that's hair trigger. That's just way overreacting. But then I thought about it for a moment. It's not an overreaction. I honestly don't think this is an overreaction. Now, that says nothing about the quality of the show, but I mean, I don't know if I can think of a series that was debuting. I mean, yeah, there was some buzz around Game of Thrones, but it wasn't until it was on for a while and became Game of Thrones that the world started talking about it. Yeah. I feel like the world is talking about this Harry Potter series. And so how big the numbers will stay after its debut, that'll all depend on how good or bad the show is. But you know what? Chris, do not think it's crazy to think that this Harry Potter series may launch. Now, the one thing working against it is that it's on HBO, which is not the largest subscriber base amongst the streamers. But taking that kind of caveat aside, I'm going to say this one isn't an overreaction. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It made me curious to look up, well, what is the most watched pilot? If Google is right, it said a 2-hour premiere of Twin Peaks, but who knows if that's it, right? Yeah, you also think about the worldwide appeal of this property and all the eyeballs it's going to draw in. Yeah, I don't think it's no reaction to say something like that.
All right, Jonathan, I think we've got one more, don't we?
Yeah, one more here.
All right, what's the last one?
Yeah, Chris, is this an overreaction? This is coming from Charles. Odyssey or Dune 3 will make $1 billion.
Odyssey or Dune 3 will make $1 billion?
Yeah, so they kind of give you
an option on the overreaction. Okay, I don't think that's an overreaction. Definitely, I mean, you think about Christopher Nolan's last movie that nearly reached $1 billion with Oppenheimer, and this one has the more blockbuster appeal of, you know, swords and sandals and something that would entertain the masses. And having seen the movie, thinking it's pretty dang good. Yeah, I don't think it's no reaction for either of those to get that.
All right, I'm gonna say it's an overreaction.
Oh,
now, look, let me be clear here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's an overreaction. I'm not saying it. I definitely am not saying it's impossible. Not at all. It could happen, but again, to me, let's just talk about Oppenheimer for a second. On the Oppenheimer front, and we're about to talk about its box office, but it's still an R-rated film. And only twice out of the 10,000 R-rated films that have come out in the last 30 years, only twice has an R-rated film made $1 billion. It's only ever happened twice. On top of that, you have the black girl. You have a little bit of controversy, made up, pathetic basement dwelling, sucking on mama's nipple, whining about that. So there's a little bit of that out there too. And again, I don't think that's going to make a major impact. But considering I think that the margins are already razor thin about it hitting the $1 billion mark. Yeah, again, I'm not going to fall. Here's the thing, guys. I'm not going to fall out of my chair in complete and utter shock and amazement if Odyssey does, and I'll be thrilled for it if it does. But I still think it's a tall order, so I'm going to say overreaction. Now, with Dune 3, you go all the way back to when we started talking about when the first Dune movie was coming, right? When the first Dune movie was 3 or 4 months away, I remember saying on the John Campea Show, this is not the kind of movie that makes $1 billion. It is more high-level thinking sci-fi that is not everybody's cup of tea, and it could be awesome, but even if it is awesome, I don't see it being a $1 billion franchise. So yeah, I'm going to guess that neither of these. I think they'll both do really well. I think they'll both make a bunch of money. But I'm going to, out of my ass, guess that neither of them will, so I will call it an overreaction.
Oh.
All right, guys. That will wrap up today's round of overreaction. Thank you to all you guys who sent in your submissions. And guys, if you've got a hot take, keep your eyes open on the YouTube channel for when I drop a call for submissions for your hot takes, and maybe you'll see your hot take adjudicated on the next installment of Overreaction. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, the Odyssey. We've been talking about it for ages. It is now out in theaters and had public screenings for the world to go and see. Now, I've been getting a lot of people asking me why I didn't have my out of theater review for it. The reason is the timing just didn't work. We drove out to LA, which is about an hour for us, went to see the Odyssey, then immediately went in for our dinner reservations, and then immediately went over into seeing Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring in concert, which here's a look at our seats.
Wow.
Those were our seats. And by the way, like a week before we went to it, my wife Ann said to me, just so you know, I may be doing some light cosplaying when we go to the concert. So there's Anne out front of the
cool.
out front of the theater before. Anyway, we didn't get home till like 1 a.m. And so and that was, I just had to get to bed. I didn't really feel like moving it over to my editing computer or doing some quick edits on it and uploading it. So that's why there wasn't an out of theater reaction to it last night. So my apologies. Anyway, went to go see the Odyssey. As of right now, the Odyssey is hanging on to with over 300 reviews, is holding a 96% critic rating, and just as, if not even more importantly, a 97% audience rating. And remember, on Rotten Tomatoes, that audience rating is verified that it's people who actually saw the movie. So that's a very, very important thing. So out of 1,000 plus verified people who actually saw the movie ratings, it's got a 97%, which is, I mean, obviously impressive. It's obviously impressive. So, okay, what did I think about it? Let me start with a couple of my nitpicks. Okay. Nitpick number 1. In typical Chris Nolan fashion, there are a number of scenes in this movie that are enragingly dark. And I don't mean mood dark. I mean literal dark. Where there are just some scenes in the Odyssey that I had to pay super close attention, even just to follow what was happening. The Cyclops' cave is a good example of that to me, where it's like, it's so dark that I mean, I could follow it, but it was right on the line. And there are a number of other scenes. It's like, and this is not new to Christopher Nolan. I don't know why Christopher Nolan has this infuriating belief that, the audience really likes it when they got to work hard to follow what's going on the screen visually. And a lot of the film is lit perfectly well. But again, in typical Chris Nolan fashion, there is a number of scenes in the film that I just think are just too freaking dark. The second nitpick I have with this movie, also a typical Christopher Nolan thing, which was the fact that his fight action sequences, this goes all the way back to The Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Our shaky camera. Oh, look how shaky the camera is. Ooh, don't you feel the energy and excitement? And it just, there's this, you get into the third act where there's a big combat scene that happens in the palace. And it's like, okay, I can see some stabbing happening. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't completely ineligible. At least not like you couldn't understand at all what was happening. But again, typical Christopher Nolan fight action scene. Whoa, wow, the audience is going to love this. And I'm just like, oh my God. Oh, surprisingly, one of the issues I did not have with the movie, which I was fully expecting to have, was audio. Christopher Nolan is typically horrible at his audio mix. But I watched it and I was fully ready for it. Like, I'm getting ready to like, okay, got to listen really close. But I actually found that his audio mix was actually pretty solid. So those are a couple of the audio. There's a couple of the nitpicks that I had with the film. And surprisingly, audio was not one of them. Okay. The movie is a fucking masterpiece. The movie is a fucking masterpiece. I'm watching this damn thing. And like, I'm instantly, my mind is taken back to like watching, like it had the DNA and the feel of like old school Hollywood, golden era Hollywood, the way epics used to be made, right? Yeah. Like it just, I felt like I was watching somebody else doing Cleopatra or Ben-Hur or Spartacus. It just had that feel and that scope. And with all the benefits of modern technology all blended in, and like just the scale of it and the scope and the grandeur of this movie. I'm just watching this and I just remember thinking, we are truly watching the work of a master filmmaker, maybe at the height of his powers right now. Like I just couldn't believe that. Performances off the scale. I fully admit I had some apprehensions about how Tom Holland would come across in the movie, given the trailer. I'm going to find my dad, right? I fully admit that gave me pause, and I was a little skeptical about how he might come across as Temecula. I'm always mispronounced. Temecula. I was skeptical. Fully admit it. Holy shit, he's good in this movie. Yeah. And Anne Hathaway, Anne Hathaway to me is like Chiwetel Ejiofor. It's just a given she's going to be brilliant. She's an Academy Award winner for a reason. She was fabulous in it. But I'll tell you what, guys, Matt Damon rocked the hell out of this movie. And I didn't know, I mean, obviously I know Matt Damon's a really good actor, but could he like carry like an epic like the Odyssey as Odysseus? And my God, he did. Charlize Theron was as Calypso. Absolutely moving. I don't know who the actress was off the top of my head who played Cersei. Holy shit. Like, she crept me out. And the whole, like, holy crap, she's so good. Obviously, John Bernthal. My wife said something. My wife loves John Bernthal, but she said something funny. She goes, you know, John Bernthal always has something to tell somebody. Let me tell you something. I got to tell you. I got something to tell you. Like, it's like whether he's frank or whether he's whatever. But you know what? He was great in it too. And Robert Pattinson. Holy crap. I'm like, can you really make me hate you? And he does it. So, and by the way, performances aren't just an indicator of the actors themselves. It's also a light on the director, because the director is directing those performances. And it works so well. I also was a little bit skeptical going in the movie about the visual effects, because it was on a television screen. But on the television screen, the effects look good, but a little edgy. Like, if you know what I mean when I say that. Yeah. they still look fine. They look good, but on IMAX on a movie screen, they looked seamless and flawless. It was just amazing. I mean, by the way, another subtitle you could put, The Odyssey, running back to your boat. There's a lot of running back to your boat in this movie.
Yeah.
Many scenes of run back to the boat, but still that's there. The stuff when they actually built these boats and actually shot them sailing on the high seas and all that kind of stuff. Listen, I just got to tell you, Dune 3, Digger, all these other amazing looking Best Picture contending films, the bar's been set.
Mm-hmm.
The bar's been set. This is now, despite the fact that I had some reservations and a little bit of skepticism. I mean, I knew the movie would be good, but this is now my new favorite movie of the year. It had been Project Hail Mary. Project Hail Mary got just recently replaced by Olivia Wilde's The Invite.
Yeah.
And now The Odyssey is now the film to beat. This is the film to beat. Guys, it's not often we as film fans get to have an experience in the movie theaters like The Odyssey just delivered. And you know, as the last movie I was really excited to see was Supergirl, and you guys know how I came out of that movie feeling. So it's so nice to go into another movie that I was really looking forward to and actually come out with a huge smile on my face. I loved it. Anyway, Chris, you had a chance to watch The Odyssey.
Yeah.
What do you think about the film?
Yeah, echoing a lot of your thoughts. I had different nitpicks than you. So I'll start off with those because I agree with you. Masterpiece, probably my favorite film of the year as well. I thought it was just amazing. It's the kind of movie you go into and you hope to be immersed in. And it did that in cylinders. There's not really a bad performance at all throughout this movie. It's like you said, you're just going down the list of the actors and everything they do, and you're just like, Robert Pattinson, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, like everybody was so good. The Ludwig score, especially in that third act,
so good.
It's like a levitating moment of cinema with everything that was crescendoing in. My nitpicks came down to I think in the first 20-25 minutes there was an adjustment in like trying to find its footing to where I didn't care about the dialect and the complaints we were having with like the modern English, but in the movie it did take like a little bit of getting used to in the way they were speaking and going through, and then the past 30 minutes, it's like, okay, you're just on board with it. The way it's also just cutting back, throwing name and situation after you, trying to get used to the structure the movie's about to throw at you. So the first 25 minutes to me were like an adjustment, but there's so much great setting up and wonderful payoffs in the third act that they do in here. The Cersei scene, like you said, same. I was jaw open, just admiring that entire sequence. The practical effects involved with it, I thought were phenomenal. The only other thing too, the nitpick I had was movies rated R. I feel like it didn't really need to be. I feel like maybe there was only like 1 or 2 scenes that benefited with the rated R.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. I guess I said something to Ann coming. I'm like, you had to remind myself that this was rated R. I'm like, did that need to be rated R?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why it was, to be honest, other than
I really don't know either. Like
maybe the Cersei horror scene, maybe the board thought that might be a little much, and I'm having a hard time pointing to specific things in the movie that required it to be rated R. But anyway, that's me. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
No, you're good. You're good. One name we haven't brought up yet that is definitely like the underrated, really good star, John Leguizamo. He's really good in this. I thought the role he had, there's a lot of like minor roles, but that really help it. Like, you know, like Mia Goth, she doesn't have much, but she's good in the part she's in. I'm really curious about like the pay of how this works. Is it an actor just wanting to work with Christopher Nolan and just like, okay, whatever you part you have for me, I'll go in there, or is it, you know, he just picks it in? But yeah, like you, and you know, I know this is what we want to talk about, but it's so funny, the controversies and the people mad at this, because if you watch it, everybody is suited for the roles they're in. They are great in what they do, and Christopher Nolan knew how to use those characters. It's just so funny seeing all that controversy, and I think a lot of people would shut up if they actually just went to go see it.
Well, and you know what the funny thing is too, is like the controversial elements. Correct me if you think I'm wrong on this, Chris. 3 minutes of screen time.
Yeah.
4.
5 total, maybe. Yeah, it's like such an
Maybe.
insignificant part. And
Oh,
I think if you weren't even online, you wouldn't even know that this is a problem or an issue. Like every regular day, people who just have a job, it's like, oh, no, Christopher Nolan, they're going in not even realizing anything is abrupt.
by the way, somebody mentioned no one's mentioned Elliot Page yet. Well, that's because Elliot Page literally had about 2 minutes of screen time. I mean, it's but great.
Yeah.
Like
And
as
perfectly fits the role he was cast in. He's not Achilles.
What was the character? Is Sinon? Is that
Sinon.
that was?
Sinon.
Oh, perfect. Especially in the speaking from the dead part. I was like,
Great
holy
scene.
crap. I mean, I mean, so, but yeah, we haven't mentioned like Lupita Nyong'o. We haven't mentioned Elliot Page. Haven't really mentioned Mia Goth. Haven't really mentioned a few, because those are really small things. I mean, really the vast majority, and we haven't mentioned Ryan Hurst either.
Benny Safdie.
Benny Safdie, by the way, so good. But
Yeah.
all the supporting guys, that the lion's share of the time of this movie is made up of obviously Matt Damon,
Tom
Holland, Robert Pattinson,
Anne
Anne
Hathaway.
Hathaway. I mean, that's really the vast majority. And then a lot of the secondary characters who are Odysseus's crew. So there's a bunch of that, but yeah, all the performances were just like,
Even Travis
Wow.
Scott for the 30 seconds he was in.
for the like the tiny little whatever they were in. Boom, boom. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, let me say this too. The way they brought it home at the end through the movie, this isn't, it's telling you a little bit of the setup, guys. Trust me, this is not spoiling anything, but through the movie, as questions are brought up about Odysseus, do you even want to go home right now? Have you wanted to go home? The way they bring that and tie that up at the end devastated me. Like, as he's explaining everything at the end, I'm like, that is horrific. Like that is the way he's just, again, it's just the way Nolan wrote it. It was just so emotionally devastating and made everything make complete sense. And yeah, man, I just loved it. But I will say one other thing. And Jonathan and I, we were talking about this before the show started. I did see it in 70 millimeter IMAX. Frankly, didn't really impress me all that much. I mean, it was nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. Nothing wrong with it. It's just that I didn't get that feeling that I get sometimes when I watch stuff that's shot on IMAX and on a 70 millimeter IMAX screen. It was a good image. It was a good image, but it didn't blow my socks off. Oh, can I say one other thing, guys? One other thing. We talked about this, that if you go to see the IMAX presentation of the Odyssey, that they're going to show the opening scene of Dune 3. So Ann and I are sitting in the theater. Of course, we saw the opening 8 minutes at CinemaCon. So we're like, oh, I really want to see it again. Come on, show it. And this note comes up on screen from Denis Villeneuve that says, special thanks to my friend Christopher Nolan for allowing us to show you this opening of Dune. Something like that, right? And then they play the opening, but they only showed half of it. So the opening that you guys who were lucky enough to see it in theaters, that was only half of it. Because you guys have heard us like losing our minds over the opening 8 minutes of Dune. You got maybe 3 or 4 minutes of it. And yeah, that 3 or 4 minutes was great. That 3 or 4 minutes was great. But believe me when I tell you, that was only half of it, and it wasn't even the best part. So
that's exciting to hear. That's exciting.
Yeah. So even better glory is on the way. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Are you one of the many people who went out to go see the Odyssey last night? If so, what did you think of it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, the Odyssey is out there, and it's pretty great. I mean, a movie's a movie. All art is subjective. Not everybody's going to love it. Nothing wrong with that. If you went to go see it and it didn't work for you, absolutely cool. But almost everybody did love it. The question now becomes, were people going to go out to see it? And well, according to Variety, We now have the answer to that. The Odyssey box office is now the biggest opening preview night of the year. The Odyssey kicks off with an epic $17.6 million in previews. Of course, previews are the things that happen on Thursday night, right? Now, we knew that the Odyssey was already selling tickets for their 70mm IMAX and only their 70mm IMAX like a year in advance. So those tickets were out there. But that's only going to give you $2 or $3 million. So according to these reports, check this out as we now put this into perspective. The Odyssey is now the biggest preview night of the year, passing Toy Story 5, which made $17.5 million on its preview night, Michael, which made $12.6 million on its preview night, Project Hail Mary, which made 12, and Star Wars: The Mandalorian and Grogu, which tied it at $12 million. What is also interesting is how it broke down with formats. The premium formats, that's IMAX, that's all premium large format PLF. So that includes Screen X, and I believe they include Dolby, and it includes like what all theaters have their own brand name for their larger than normal format. That made up 52% for PLF, 70mm, and regular IMAX, all combined made up 52% of the box office. And again, if you go over and look at it, of that 52%, IMAX 70mm was only a small portion of it. PLF was a bigger portion, and just regular, some people call Limax, made up the majority of that money that people went to go see too. So people wanted to see this on the biggest screen possible, and they ran out to go see it. And again, as we take a look at this, we're looking at bigger, and just to put this in perspective, Toy Story with 17.5 million in previews went on to make $156 million on its opening weekend, which still stands as the biggest opening weekend of the year. Now, just to be clear, just because the Odyssey had bigger preview numbers, that does absolutely not mean that its overall opening weekend is going to be Toy Story 5 numbers, when all the parents are not taking their kids late Thursday night to go see it. They're taking them, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, all that kind of stuff. It's not going to make 150. But I'll tell you what it does do, Chris, is that remember the initial projections for an opening weekend of the Odyssey was $80 to $90 million, which would have been on par with or even bigger than Oppenheimer, which nearly made $1 billion.
Yeah.
We just talked on the show the other day that those projections have now gone up for 90 to 100, which would mean it's the biggest opening of Christopher Nolan's career with a movie other than Batman. But now I can't see this making under 100 million now for its opening weekend. I just don't see it getting under 100 million. The word of mouth about this movie is off the charts. People are excited. Again, I don't think it's not going to be Toy Story. I don't think it's going to be 130 million. I don't think it's going to be 140 million, but I think it's going to break that 100 million barrier. Anyway, Chris, you saw these numbers. Are you surprised by these preview numbers? Do you extrapolate or have any idea or guess about how big the opening weekend can ultimately be, and what's driving all these people to going to see this movie?
No, I think it's spectacle and a promise of something truly, I hopefully good that you're gonna see. And the thing that I was really kind of happy with and seeing Variety, I think, put out an article saying that I think this year they're on track for the movie year to cross 10 billion, and that would be the first time since 2019 pandemic numbers. And it's nice to see that the theaters are thriving, because every year we kind of have that conversation about whether people even want to go to the movies or not. And this has been really a pretty good year of people showing up for movies that promise something to immerse you in, to get you excited for this one. It's also just cool for Christopher Nolan to see, and the household name he is and the excitement he brings to the theater. I actually would not be surprised if it comes close to that Toy Story, at least domestically.
Really? So you're thinking like sky high numbers for this thing. I don't
know. Maybe its runtime will work against it in that aspect, but especially with the premium formats and the way that has been sold out. But I guess that's also, there's only a limited amount of supply of those premium theaters that they can go to help out those numbers. But I just see it, and I'm happy for cinema.
You know, it's funny.
You know what?
Go ahead, Jonathan.
At first I thought, I think he's got this shirtless man on his mind too much here. But well, I looked at Oppenheimer. That's 330 million domestic. I don't think Chris is that far off, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, can it get Toy Story numbers on opening weekend? Which is, I mean, I'm not going to be in the doubting Christopher Nolan business. I'm just not. I mean, it does seem like a really big number, but you know, Jonathan, that does bring up another thing. Is that I was playing poker the other night, and it was a good night. I won like 7,000 that night. It was pretty good. Anyway,
it's a very good night. Yeah,
it was a good night. It was a good night. I'm not going to lie. I was able to go and pay like 2.5 months of mortgage just from what I won the other night. But I was talking to this random guy who watched the channel, knew who I was, and we started talking about movie stuff. He goes, you know, I want to go see the Odyssey this weekend. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. He said, but I wanted to see it in IMAX. But my IMAX theater where I live, remember, we're talking 70 millimeter, near where I live, it's booked for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He said, granted, I was trying to get a thing for me, my wife, and my buddy, 3 tickets, and I couldn't find a screening for like the next week and a half or more with 3 seats together that weren't up in the front row. So, Jonathan, I know we were talking beforehand, like you were planning on waiting to see it on large premium format. Like, what is it, do you think, about what looks like the Odyssey that makes a lot of people feel like this has to be seen in IMAX or one of the PLF formats? What do you think?
I think it's 100% the fact that Nolan went to the trouble of filming this entire movie in IMAX and on IMAX 70 millimeter, film. So people are, I don't have any other word than respect for the movie. That people are like, we need to see this in what this man and what this cast and this crew intended and put forth. I mean, this was a huge undertaking. I just don't see it as any other reason. I think if this movie was like Dune or Oppenheimer or many of these other films where it's like there's IMAX scenes, like there's action scenes that are cool, 70, people are like, yeah, whatever. Then I'll just go see it. Like, but the fact that this is kind of historic, it is historic. People are like, I'm gonna wait. I mean, like my kids, we talked about this last week. Yeah, you know, I may end up seeing my first viewing in like Dolby or the single laser IMAX, and then see it a second time with them. But they're willing to wait for week 3 to see it in the 70 millimeter, full IMAX aspect ratio. So that's
all right, guys. The question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, look, I don't think it's an apples to apples 1-to-1 ratio comparison with Toy Story, or that it'll have 150 million plus opening weekend. But I mean, it just beat out Toy Story. That was the biggest preview night at the box office. Now it's the Odyssey. I'm feeling pretty comfortable this is going to beat that $100 million expectation to by far be the biggest Christopher Nolan opening weekend of his career. That isn't a Batman movie, but Chris thinks that maybe it can get to those Toy Story numbers. We'll see. Whatever you guys think about this, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. And all right, guys, we now are going to get to our part of the show where we take your live comments and questions. But before we do, we got 2 things. We have to say a goodbye, of course, today to our technical producer, Jonathan Voico. Great job as always. We'll talk to you later, man.
Thank you. See you guys next weekend. Have a safe weekend.
And of course, I always love it when we are graced with the presence of Chris Parker, 3C Films. Thanks a lot for being here, man. We'll talk to you again next week.
Yes, of course. Whenever you'll have me. Thank you guys for having me on. It's always a pleasure, John.
Good having you, man. Have a great day. And we got one other thing we have to do before we take your questions, and that is thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at Mars Men. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Mars Men. You know, one of the things that catches a lot of us guys off guard as we get older is that staying in shape isn't quite as straightforward as it used to be. You can be putting in the same effort at the gym and watching what you eat, but your body just doesn't seem to respond the way that it did a few years ago. A big reason for that is that testosterone levels naturally decline as men age. And that's where today's sponsor, Mars Men, comes in. Mars Men is a natural supplement designed to support healthy testosterone levels with top-notch ingredients. It's made in the USA, third-party tested, protected, contains no synthetic hormones or weird stimulants, and is designed to support healthy testosterone levels, weight management, exercise performance, and overall energy. They also back it up with a 90-day money-back guarantee, which is key. And according to the company, over 91% of users reported higher energy levels. For a limited time, our listeners can get 50% off for life plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. And it's also available on Amazon. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. And thank you to our friends at Mars Men for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, it's time for us to get over and start taking your live questions. Now, just so you know, I have turned off the super chats. So you're not going to be able to send in any more, but we've got a whole bunch of them lined up already. So let's get over to it, shall we? We're going to start off here with Patrick Stewart, who sends in a $50 super chat. Thank you, Patrick, for supporting us on that level, man. And Patrick writes, my dad and I saw the Odyssey yesterday in IMAX. Both of us loved the movie and were captivated by the visuals, storytelling, and acting. Christopher Nolan, the writers, and production staff did an amazing job. It took me back to 9th grade English. And then, oh my God, Patrick sent in another $50 super chat. Dude, thank you for supporting our channel that way, man. That's incredibly generous of you. Everybody watching the show appreciates you supporting us that way, man. And he goes on to say, my dad and I recommend that folks go see the Odyssey in theaters. If you're able to see it in theaters and have the option, go see it in IMAX. Every frame was filmed in IMAX. I cannot believe that the final cut of the 70mm film is 11 miles long. You know, that I talked about it on the show. I watched this behind the scenes thing. I think it was 60 Minutes that did it, and they put the clip up on YouTube about Christopher Nolan making this film all in IMAX and what that required of them to do, which was crazy. But not only shooting it in IMAX, they edited it old school, where they literally took film, cut the film, taped the pieces together to actually create the edits, which was just, I mean, this is old school Hollywood filmmaking craft. Even doing the color correction, they literally took the film and put sheets of colored film over top of it to create the look of the image that they wanted. Like, it's just nuts. Absolutely nutty the way they did that. Now, look, again, I wasn't as blown away by the IMAX image as some other people are, but I'm in the minority. I think most people are like you that I've talked to, Patrick, are in the same boat as you, no pun intended, that they actually thought it was flooring. But again, I don't care whether you guys see it in IMAX or regular. This is filmmaking masterclass. I was completely blown away by it. And I think many of you, not everybody, film is subjective. No movie works for everyone. And I'm sure there are going to be some of you that this movie doesn't work for. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. That's just the way movies hit us. But I think a lot of you guys are really going to love this movie. So that's my take on it. Again, Patrick, thank you for supporting us. That's incredibly generous of you, dude. And we appreciate you so much, man. All right. Next up is also Patrick, who sends in a $20 super chat. And who writes in, last time I saw a film in IMAX format was Avengers Age of Ultron. I forgot how immersive IMAX is. Awesome sound, huge screen. The theater I went to was packed. I heard D-Box also has an immersive experience. Yeah, I've never done a D-Box experience. I've done the 4DX. That's crazy, but it's got to be for the right kind of movie. So I've done 4DX. That was kind of nutty. I think the next time I go see it, I think I want to go see it in my general AMC Dolby Prime. I think that's going to be my next experience with it, is to see it there and see if I can have any kind of a noticeable difference between the two. But either way, I'm looking forward to watching it. Anyway, again, Patrick, thank you for the support. Thank you for sharing your experience with your dad going to watch it. And I cannot wait to go see it again myself. Appreciate that, man. All right, next up. Rick302 writes, hey, John, I'm rushing to the Lord of the Rings concert tomorrow night after work. Nice. What time do I need to be in my seat? Also, how was it? It was amazing. It was amazing. This choir and orchestra are so good that, again, you'll you forget you're not just hearing the soundtrack coming from the movie. It's crazy. You don't need to be there early. The concert starts about 5 minutes after showtime. So as long as you get in there and in your seat, you're fine. You're totally fine. So again, Ann and I had a remarkable time last night. I loved it so much. The moment they announced Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers in concert, I'll definitely be back. But here was I mentioned this in the show, but I'll bring it up here again. Being able to go, like, even forget the concert part, forget that they had the live orchestra and the live choir. Again, well over 100 people. Just to watch Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring on the big screen again with like 5,000 other people was awesome. It was such a great experience. So yeah, I think you are going to have a really good time, sir, because I know we did. All right, next up. Sam Fisher writes, I'm surprised this is his movie after Oppenheimer, but I'm excited for Nolan's Bowie biopic, Odyssey. Hey, wait, those are S's? Fuck, shit, what? I'm not sure what? I'm sure that's a reference to something that is just totally going over my head, but I don't get. By the way, is he supposed to be doing a Bowie biopic? I did not know that, or maybe I did and I'm just forgetting. Anyway. All right. Thanks for that, Sam. Next up, Rich Reviews writes, thoughts on someone buying a complete T-Rex skeleton at auction for $50 million for a private collection? Listen, if I had the finances, which it might surprise some of you to find out I don't have $50 million, but if I had the finances to literally have an entire actual T-Rex in my collection, I'd do it. Dude, listen, I mean, I won't tell you how much I paid for it, but I got this, Sons of Anarchy is one of my, I'm not really a collector. I don't have a lot of this kind of stuff, but this Sons of Anarchy cut actually used for fittings on the set of Sons of Anarchy, autographed by all the actual cast members, and certified. I paid a lot for that. My wife said, you got to get it. You never buy yourself anything like that. So I bought it. But like, yeah, if you're into dinosaurs, but just think of it, guys, to say you actually own a real T-Rex. That would be wild. That would be wild. All right. Next up, we've got Rich Reviews also writes, thoughts on the new trailer of The Uprising directed by Paul Greengrass. Holy crap. Okay. It's funny. I was just talking, I think with Rob Rob and I were talking the other day about Uprising, the new Paul Greengrass, Andrew Garfield movie. And it's like, it sounds good. Sounds interesting. Whatever. Put it out of my mind. I saw the trailer for it for the first time last night in front of the Odyssey. Look, I mean, it's just a trailer. But it looks like another Best Picture contender. Like, it looks so good. I think it looks remarkable. If you haven't seen the trailer, go watch the trailer for it. It looks insanely good. Again, I haven't seen the movie. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it looks like a Best Picture contender. It really does. I thought it was incredible, Rich. All right, next up. Gabriel Roca writes, the AMC 35 minutes from my house recently added a Dolby Cinema screening, and I finally got to experience it for the first time with the Odyssey. John, this is now my most memorable viewing experience. Some people look at me kind of funny, Gabriel, when I often say, listen, I love IMAX. Don't get me wrong. I think IMAX is great. But when people ask me what is my first go-to viewing experience, I always look for the Dolby Prime. I always look for the Dolby Prime first. And it's a mixture of a couple things. Number one, the richness of the image, the depths of the blacks, the brightness and vividness of the colors, the sharpness of that dual laser projection. It's a great viewing experience. Also, you got the Dolby Atmos surround sound, which is a great listening experience. But when it's a Dolby Prime, it's also those beautiful beautifully comfortable motorized leather recliners. So you mix the leather recliners with that image and the sound. That is my go-to experience. I'm glad you had a chance to experience it, man. All right. Okay, writes, how on earth does Ridley Scott still have the energy to make movies at 88 years old? He needs to enjoy the beach. Listen, I think Ridley Scott, if this is what you love doing the most, see, for most people, work keeps you from doing the things you love the most. But if you're somebody like Ridley Scott or a Clint Eastwood or something like that, where, hey, my work is what I love doing the most, God bless you. Do it till you're 90. Now look, you guys know I'm not all that enamored with Ridley Scott these days. Like, don't get me wrong. First ballot Hall of Famer director all time. Absolutely. But if we're being realistic, the last 15, 20 years, I mean, he made The Martian, which was awesome. But I mean, a lot of his recent stuff I just think has been poor. I thought Napoleon was not very good. I didn't like Gladiator 2 all that much. The Last Duel I thought was kind of crappy. I mean, on and on. I don't think Dog Stars looks very good, but who knows? Maybe it's awesome. I hope that it is. But if he loves doing what he's doing, do it, man. Keep going, Ridley. You keep going. So I hope he continues to do it if it's what he loves doing. All right. Next up, we got Huss Rogers, who writes, do you sometimes feel someone like Nolan should release a movie once every 2 years? I don't go to the movies often, but Nolan's is an experience. I mean, it would be great, but you got to understand, minimum, it takes like 2 years to make a movie like that. And considering he likes to write and direct his movies, that process is incredibly long. I don't know, maybe once in a while he can get them out in 2 years, but for a guy like Christopher Nolan to make a movie like clockwork every 2 years, that would be difficult. That would be very, very difficult. I mean, yeah, I wish we had a new Christopher Nolan film every 2 years, but it would be very, very difficult to maintain that kind of a clip. It'd be really hard. All right. Next up, Mr. I writes, I had to miss Odyssey last night. The theater near me is closed yesterday and due to the poor air quality. Cue blame Canada from South Park. I kid. Hope the fires aren't affecting your family. Yeah, I actually got a call. I didn't even really hear about it till yesterday. I got to call my dad and see how they're doing up there because he's up there. But I think my dad also has a lot of, I can't remember the technical name for them, but air purifiers in the house. So yes, I don't know about the nature of the size of it. I mean, it's gone both ways. Like California wildfires going up and smoking out Canada have happened. Now it looks like it's happening the other way. I hope they're able to get that under control really quick. I don't know a lot about it. I just saw the headline, so I hope they were able to get that under control soon. All right. Next up, Terrence writes, the Odyssey was great, but it's by far the loudest movie I've ever heard in theater. And it was cool seeing Batman, Catwoman, Spider-Man, and MJ and Punisher in the same movie. You know what, Terrence? Here's the interesting thing. I've heard from a couple of people that said that was a really loud movie. I didn't have that experience myself. Now, this might be a theater issue, right? It might be a theater issue that the theater may have just had the volume cranked up a little bit too high. I know I've been in movie screenings where somebody in the movie theater, and even once or twice me, had to go out while the movie was playing and ask the management, can you please turn it up? Like, we're having a hard time here in the movie. And I think the opposite can happen too. So you're not the only person I've heard say that, Terrence, but I can definitely say from my experience, it did not feel like an overly loud movie. Again, that's probably down right to the actual theater making the decision on how loud to have it. All right. Next up, your Nostum writes, greetings from Norway. Hey, the land of Erling Haaland. Today I'm traveling to the other side of the country so I can watch the Odyssey in an IMAX movie theater. There is only one in all of Norway. Hashtag priorities. You know, that's the funny thing though, man, is that people keep forgetting literally just how few true 70 millimeter IMAX screens there are in the world. I think in LA, like Los Angeles, one of the biggest cities in North America, the movie capital of the planet, and I think there are 3 or 4 in total in the entire greater Los Angeles area. I think it's actually a very small number around the world. So I'm glad you just even have one within driving distance, man. I hope you have a good time going to see it, Yor. And by the way, congratulations to Norway on an amazing run at the World Cup. Just an amazing, they weren't even supposed to make it or qualify for the World Cup. And that was just an amazing run they had. And now Erling is like the most popular athlete in the world now, all of a sudden. All right. Next up, Mr. I writes, you saw me walking with a cane in Columbus. Oh, that's right. Told you one of my injuries was a torn bicep. I still don't have full motion 3 years after surgery. There are so many pro athletes that, I mean, thankfully it's not a common injury. It's not a common injury. But I know there are several pro athletes who have suffered that and either were never able to come back or were never quite the same. And if you're a Ryan Hurst, who part of your job is being this huge guy, right? And you cannot lift a weight. It's going to be a long, like they're saying the prognosis for him is good, but it's going to be a long road back for him. And I just feel so bad about that, Mr. I. Like this dude was going to get this big lead. He's been this wonderful supporting character in so many things. And now he gets handed this big, true starring vehicle lead and he loses it because of a physical injury. Just sucks, man. Just sucks. Let's see. Next up, we have, where are we at? Navaneeth writes, it's important to look at what the average rating on Rotten Tomatoes, more useful instead of just the tomato meter. No, I think you're completely, I completely disagree with you on that, and I'll tell you why. But let's just finish reading your comment here. The Odyssey, 96%, average 8.8 out of 10. By the way, a lot of critics don't even give a score. Just so you know, a lot of critics don't even attribute a score. They just say, they give their blurb, and they say whether they liked it or not. That's it. They give you the option. As a Rotten Tomatoes critic, they do give you the option, but it's optional to put in a score. What is required is whether you say you liked it or you didn't. Fresh or rotten. They do require that, but they do not require critics to put in a score. And I'll tell you why that's important in a minute. Anyway, The Odyssey, 96% average, 8.8 out of 10 from critics, 97% average from the audience, 4.4 out of 5 from audiences. Grifter goalposts changing. True. But, so you and I are in agreement. But the reason I think the tomato meter is a better gauge than the scores is because if you have 100 film critics, you have 100 different tastes. 100 different tastes. And so to me, I just like getting the general idea. What are the odds I'll like this movie? And if you get 100 film critics with wildly different tastes, experiences, backgrounds, lives, all that kind of stuff, and like 89% out of that group of 100 liked it, regardless of some give it 10 out of 10, some give it 6.5 out of 10, some give it 8 out of 10, regardless, just tell me what percentage of them liked the movie. It doesn't guarantee I will, but it gives me a decent idea of the chances I have of going in and liking it. I probably have an 89% chance of liking it. Now, that still means there's 11% chance I won't, and that does happen sometimes. But that, I mean, and because here's the other reason I don't like scores. Nevi, the reason I don't like scores, and the reason why I don't give scores to movies I watch, I'll just talk about them and tell you whether I liked it or not. And if I liked it a lot or whatever. But the reason I don't like scores and the reason I stopped giving scores in my movie reviews so long ago is because none of the scores mean the same thing to people. Like back years, well over a decade ago, I think I stopped doing it. But back in the day when I did give out of 10 scores, right? Like if I saw a movie and I really thought it was quite good and I enjoyed it and I thought it was a really solid movie, I give it like a 7 out of 10, right? That's 3 away from perfection. That's 3 away from 10 out of 10, like that, which is perfection, right? So 7 out of 10, solid movie, good movie, really enjoyable. And then what would happen is, inevitably, I would get people right into me. Why did you hate the movie, John? Why'd you only give it a 7? What sucked? Why did you think the movie sucked? Because to some people, it's like 7 out of 10 isn't good. If a movie's good, minimum, it's got to be 9 out of 10. Look, the point is, different numbers mean different things to different people. To some people, anything under an 8 means it sucks. I'm like, which is ridiculous, but that's the thing too. Also, here's the other thing too. Like one of our other reviews saying, audience scores much more reliable than critics. That is pure bullshit. Pure absolute bullshit. And I'll tell you, I know it's like what everybody likes to think, but as just an audience member myself, that is absolute pure bullshit. And I'll tell you why. Because when you're watching, when a movie's coming out, when you see the critics, it's critics who don't care. Like, let's say there's a new Star Wars movie. Some of the critics going to see it are Star Wars fans. Some of them aren't Star Wars fans. Some live sci-fi. Others don't care if a movie's sci-fi or not. Right? Like all that kind of stuff. So when that group of people who really don't care go to see it, you get more of a pure number. With audiences, and I include myself in this, people, just average audiences, if you're not really into Pixar, you're not going to see it. Generally speaking, the people going to see a Pixar film are the people who are into Pixar. And so they are more predisposed, I'm not saying biased, but a little bit more predisposed to, like, the people going to see a Pixar film, the majority of them are people who like Pixar films already. So the chances are, see, that's why, like, I think audience scores are useful. I really do. At least Rotten Tomatoes one, because it's verified users and verified people who actually went to go see the movie. IMDb user ratings is completely useless, 100% useless. But that's why I say when it comes to the critic score, I don't really get impressed by a critic score, by an audience score, I mean, unless it's like over 88, 89, 90, 91%. Because like a 75 doesn't really mean anything, because most of the people going to see that are the ones who are predisposed to wanting to go see that movie and would be interested in it. With film critics, you don't have that. You know, most of your full-time professional film critics don't go see every movie where this one they're predisposed to liking, not predisposed to liking. They go in completely even keel for the most part, compared to audiences. But that's why I like audience scores. I think they're worth talking about, and I bring them up quite a bit. But I don't think they're more reliable because they come from a... Again, there's a pre-existing lean to it. But anyway, that's just kind of me. But again, I really do like audience scores. I talked about it today, as a matter of fact. All right. Blackberry sends in a $50 super. What's with you guys sending in $50 today? Jeez, guys, thank you so much. Blackberry writes, the Odyssey is awesome. Theater was full. 2 young dudes sit close on my row talking loudly before the film, start laughing at the very first scene with Travis Scott, then shut the fuck up for the rest of the film and applaud at the end with the rest of them. 10 out of 10. I should have known, but Ann and I went to go see the Odyssey in LA on a work day, Thursday, at 2:00 in the afternoon. That's when we saw the Odyssey. 2:00 in the afternoon in the middle of a work day. And it was packed. It was absolutely packed. I should have known, but a part of me thought, well, because it's 2:00 in the afternoon when everybody's supposed to be at work, I'm sure it'll be a good crowd, but I wasn't expecting totally packed. We walked in the door of the theater and like the lineup, I wanted to get popcorn, damn it. But the lineup was like 75 people deep And I'm like, nope, I ain't standing around. Plus the movie was starting in like 15 minutes. I was like, I'm not going to stand around for a half hour in a line to get popcorn. Couldn't believe how packed it was, man. Could not believe how packed it was. And by the way, I don't mind people talking a lot or yapping a lot prior to the movie starting. I don't even care if they do it during trailers. But as long as once you get into the movie, everybody quiets down, then I'm totally good with that. Anyway, Blackberry, so glad you enjoyed the movie. Glad you had a good time with it. And I'm glad you saw it in such a full theater because that was really fun. Seeing that movie with such a full packed out theater was really fun. Let's see. Next up, we've got Straight Edge Knight who writes, off topic, but just curious, which Batman movie do you prefer? The Dark Knight or the Batman? As much as I enjoyed the Batman, I much prefer the Dark Knight, and I think it's the far superior movie. I disagree. Now, let me rephrase. I also think the Dark Knight is the best Batman movie ever made. Right? I agree. That said, I do not believe at all that it is vastly superior to the Batman. I thought the Batman was really damn good. Not as good as the Dark Knight. Not as good as the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight's better. To me, overall. But I do not agree, my film loving brother, that it is quote unquote far superior. Nope. Batman's just too good. The Batman was just too good. The Dark Knight is better, in my opinion, and your opinion. But I cannot say it is quote unquote far superior. No, it was better, but the Batman, I thought the Batman, my biggest gripe with Matt Reeves as the Batman was the runtime. I didn't feel like that movie needed to be that long. I think it would have flowed a little better if they cut about 10, 15 minutes out of it. I think it would have been a little leaner, meaner, faster moving movie. But other than that, I thought it was an incredible film. And yeah, I don't think it was far inferior to The Dark Knight, but that's just me. All right. Next up, Amin writes, what are the chances we get a short Doomsday spot on Sunday during the World Cup? No. At the end, it says tickets on sale tomorrow, full trailer Saturday or something like that. I don't think they will, not with Comic-Con being upon us. Comic-Con's next week. Now, you bring up the fact that tickets are going on sale Monday for the premium large format. Not all tickets, just premium large format, kind of the way that Odyssey did a year ago. That does open the door to dropping some kind of trailer for tickets going on sale. But again, I just think with Comic-Con being next week, I think they're going to hold off on that until Comic-Con. Just, I could be wrong, could totally be wrong. I'm just guessing, but that's what I think is probably going to happen. Let's see here. McCrae Johnson writes, John Campea confirms Mitchell Slaggert as Batman. You know what? It's funny. You joke about it, but no matter how much I beg and plead, say, guys, understand this means nothing. Just a couple of whispers I heard. I don't really think it's all that true, but just for the sake of fun conversation between movie fans, nobody run with this as a story. Nobody, but I think Jonathan's right when he said, there are still going to be people that run with that as a headline. But who knows? We'll see what happens. Anyway, thanks for that, man. It made me laugh. All right. Next up, we've got Real Writer who writes, hey, John, which movie do you think will have the bigger impact overall? The Legend of Zelda or The Hunt for Gollum? Both come out in 2027, and I'm super excited. Thanks. Have an awesome day. Well, okay. So first of all, Real, it really depends on what do you mean by bigger impact? What does that mean? Bigger impact as in people liked it more? Bigger impact in that it had a bigger box office? It really all depends on what you mean by that. In general, I think the bigger footprint is probably going to be made by The Hunt for Gollum. Stephen Colbert, whether you like Stephen Colbert or not, is one of the world's foremost Tolkien Lord of the Rings scholars and fans. And Stephen Colbert read the script for Hunt for Gollum. And Stephen Colbert loves it. Now, again, he's but one guy, but he is truly, literally a Tolkien scholar and a major, like, ludicrous level fan of Lord of the Rings material. And he said it was really great. Whether I'll agree or not, we won't know till we see it. But and I love Andy Serkis. So we will wait and see. But my guess is right now, and it's way too early, but it's just a guess, is I think the bigger impact, depending on how you define that, is going to be the Hunt for Gollum. All right. Next up, Quantum of Zen sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you, Quantum of Zen. Appreciate that, man, very much. Quantum of Zen writes, with the delays in the Batman 2, is there any reasonable chance that they're quietly planning to make part 3 in conjunction with part 2? No. Getting a trilogy out of all of this waiting would make the wait worthwhile. No. Matt Reeves he's confirmed that he hasn't done one word of writing a script for the Batman 3. Let alone any news that they're actually going to do a Batman 3. And considering how long it took Matt Reeves just to get a script done for the Batman 2, which I'm sure will be well worth the wait, I don't think, there's any chance that they're going to be shooting Batman 2 and 3 back to back. It just seems very, very improbable. Is there room for us to be shocked and surprised? It's possible. It's possible. But again, I think it's highly, highly, highly unlikely, to be honest with you. All right. Thanks for the question, Quantum Z. And thank you for supporting us on that level, dude. It's incredibly generous of you, man. All right. Next up, Sir Z writes, John the Don. All right. 2 questions. If Morph can morph into anyone he wants and adopt their powers, why is he not the most powerful mutant? Question 2, John Wick versus, I'll answer one of them. Question 2, John Wick versus Punisher, who wins? Wishing you an amazing weekend. Well, with Morph, now help me out, guys. Help me out in the live chat here. Morph doesn't actually come from the comic. Like, am I not remembering this right? Morph was actually created for the X-Men animated series. Was he not? Like, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he was created in the comics. I think he was literally created in the, okay, guys, okay, at least Culture Healers is saying correct. All right. So because of that, I would say anything doesn't mean anything in the X-Men animated show. It's not real. It's not canon to the comics, right? Plus, if I'm also not more sure, I don't think he fully adapts their power set. I don't think he fully adapts their power set, because otherwise Morph could just morph into Apocalypse and have Apocalypse's power. Morph could just, if he needed to be super strong, just morph into Hulk and literally have Hulk strength. Or, yeah, so I don't think the show explicitly says when Morph changes his physical appearance, he literally adopts all the same power and power levels of that creature. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think the show says that. And even if it did, it's just in the animated show, which is not canonical to the comics or anything else. So I wouldn't really think it would count at that. Good question, though. Interesting question, Sir Z. All right. Next up. Mr. Graham 91 writes, good day, John. I'm curious. Does the Campea Ranch entail have livestock or crops? Just a nice piece of land for the family. Cheers. It has less now because my dad's getting older, right? My dad's getting close to 80 and he takes care of everything on the ranch, like the horses and everything else. So there are still a lot of animals on the ranch, but it's like hobby animals, right? Like, so he's got chickens that he likes getting eggs from. A lot of chickens he gets eggs from. He's like got a lot of exotic birds like that he has in the back there. I know he had a lot of these rare large breed rabbits and stuff like that. Obviously horses and things. But when my mom got sick a couple of years ago, my dad was literally spending every day in the hospital. And it was like an hour drive to the hospital every day. and back. And so being in his mid 70s at the time, it was really hard just to keep up with the ranch anyway, but now he wasn't even home. So I think he started to wean off a lot of the animals he had. He still has the chickens. He still has some, but he's got a lot less now than he did. But yeah, and there's definitely farmland. My dad doesn't farm though. So what he does, he's got this one chunk of the ranch that is farmland. And what he does is he leases the land out, I think on a year-by-year basis, to the farmer up the road. So the farmer can also use my dad's land, at least part of my dad's land, to do actual cropping as well. So yeah, there you go. Thanks for the question, man. I appreciate that, Mr. Graham. All right, let's see here. Next up, we've got Sahin Avsi writes, "Hey guys, is that the Belgium flag? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not really great on my European flags. I think that's the Belgian flag, or is it the Russian flag? Germany flag. I'm going to go with Germany. Help me out in the live chat, guys. Is it Belgian or is it Germany? I think it's Germany. Anyway, they made a IMAX 70 millimeter screen here in the the third screen in Europe. Oh, they're saying, okay, I got one guy saying it's Belgium, one guy saying it's Germany. Okay, now the other one, you guys can't even agree in the live chat. It's split. Some of you guys are saying it's Belgium, some of you guys are saying it's Germany. Anyway, Europe, that has 70 millimeter Odyssey about God of War. Why not say season 1, part 1, release it earlier and go on with season part 2? Because that's not a good way to do it. Oh, it's Belgium. Because of the difference between the vertical and the horizontal lines. Okay. Yeah, no, that's not how you release a series, man. Release the first 4 episodes and then without a natural break point, and then wait a year and a half to put out episodes 4, 5, 6, and 7. No, and by the way, we don't even know he got all the way filming through 4. Like I'm not even sure if he even finished all of his filming for the first 4 episodes, but that would not be good for the show. I mean, it's a really nice sentiment. But that's not the way to do a show. That would be suicide for the show. So yeah, that's why. I mean, the lesser of two evils is to just go ahead and recast it. I mean, that sucks. It does, but it's necessary. It's what they have to do because you're sacrificing the show just to keep the lead actor. And I know that sounds harsh, but you can't sacrifice the show just to keep the same lead actor. Again, wonderful sentiment, Sahin, wonderful sentiment, because I love that guy. I love Ryan Hurst, but you got to recast. 100% you got to recast. Okay, next up. Alex Von Gollum writes, "Hey, it's game day. Watching the Odyssey tonight. Can't contain my excitement. Ludwig Göransson's soundtrack was released and it's awesome." You know what? Ann and I were sitting down afterwards and she's like, "Oh, we were talking about Alan Silvestri and talking about, Avengers music. And we talked about Shore and the music for Lord of the Rings." She says, "By the way, who composed Odyssey?" I'm like, "Ludwig." And she's like, "He's going to win his 3rd Oscar." And what do you think about that? I believe he's got 2 right now. Actually, does he have 3? Guys in the live chat, does Ludwig have 2 or 3 already? I think it's already 2. Could be mistaken. But anyway, he could have his 3rd or 4th Oscar at the end of this year. Oh, so you guys, he already has 3. He may have his 4th Oscar. And he's like 12 years old. I mean, he's not literally 12, but the dude looks like he's 12 years old. And I mean that in the most complimentary way possible. He could have his 4th Oscar. We could be looking at the heir to the throne of John Williams. I mean, we could literally be looking at the heir to the John Williams throne. If he gets his 4th Oscar, Oh my God. At the end of this year, it's I was lucky enough to meet him one time. Super cool guy, very chill, but like just a genius, absolute genius. Okay. Let's see. Next up. Hey, John, I saw a leak of 2 very popular characters fighting and killing one popular character at the beginning of Doomsday. What's your opinion? I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to go into any of that. Nanaveth writes, The Odyssey, despite review bombing, Rotten Tomato audience verified 4.8 out of 5. All viewers 4.5 out of 5. Wow, Letterboxd 4.3 out of 5. Metacritic and IMDb has the worst review bombing. Yes, which is why I have constantly told people, I've been saying this for years, ever since Rotten Tomatoes made the right move. So hold on a second. Let me go over to Odyssey on IMDb. So reason why I always say that audience ratings on most platforms are absolutely completely useless, because unlike film critics, you don't even know if somebody saw the movie. There have been some movies where people even brag about the fact, yeah, man, I went over and gave that movie a 0. Did you see it? No, but I hate the fact that they got blah, blah, blah. Like for whatever other reasons, something other than the movie. And like, they just go and review bomb. And by the way, it can work the other way around too. It can work in the reverse. You can get positive review bombing, like reverse review bombing. You can get that too. I give the movie a 10, but you didn't even see it. Doesn't matter. I like this guy or this girl, so I give it a 10. When you don't even know what percentage of the people casting votes even saw it or not, it's completely useless. That's why I totally applauded the fact a number of years ago when Rotten Tomatoes changed their rules that you've got to be able to verify through their perfect system that you actually saw the movie. And if you saw the movie, then yeah, go ahead, give your review of it. Give your thoughts on it. And that to me is why Rotten Tomatoes audience score is the only legitimate audience score on the internet. And I remember when Rotten Tomatoes implemented that change, all you knew was your usual suspects of the grifters out there complain about it. How dare they? They're trying to censor our opinions. No, they're not censoring anything. They only want to make sure you're not dropping a review on a movie you didn't see to push your own agenda. That's why. And they got so mad about it. Oh, they got so mad. How dare you make somebody actually prove they saw a movie before giving a score on it? Yeah, how dare they? It's just so outrageous. But again, listen, let me be very clear about this though. That doesn't mean there aren't legitimate, like movies are art and it hits us all in different ways. There are people who just legitimately don't like The Godfather. There are people who just straight up legitimately, just by the way it hit them, don't like Star Wars. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the beautiful thing about movies, man. That's the art. So if you go to see The Odyssey and you didn't like it, there is nothing wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with the fact that you didn't like it. If you watched it, gave it a fair shot, and you're like, didn't do it for me. Great. That's perfect. Nothing wrong with that. But it is kind of telling that so many people are loving it. So many people are loving it. All right. Next up. Let's see. Keaton writes, you've talked about James Gunn leaving DC if Paramount gets Warner Brothers. Again, not reporting that. That's just what I, as a rando fan, think is what will happen. Anyway, but would Matt Reeves do the same, or would he finish his movie series before? Listen, let's be very clear about it. Matt Reeves is not at Warner Brothers. He's not at Warner Brothers. He's a director. He can make a movie for Warner Brothers today, a movie for Universal tomorrow, and a movie for Lionsgate the day after. James Gunn is the CEO, co-CEO with Peter Safran. James Gunn is the CEO of DC Studios. He is an employee of Warner Brothers. Matt Reeves is not an employee of Warner Brothers. Matt Reeves is no more an employee of Warner Brothers than the plumber you hire to come and fix your pipe is your employee. No, he's a contractor. He's doing a job for you. You're going to pay him for his services, but that plumber is not your employee. right? So no, there is no leaving Warner Brothers. Like, he's working on a movie. He'll finish the movie and then maybe he'll make another movie at Warner Brothers. Maybe his next one will be at another studio and then he'll come back and make a movie. But he's not an employee of Warner Brothers any more than, once again, your dentist is not your employee. Your dentist is a service provider. You pay the dentist for their services. And then you move on, and maybe you go back to that dentist. Maybe you go to another dentist later, whatever. But the dentist was never your employee. James Gunn is an employee of Warner Brothers. Matt Reeves is not. That's an important distinction to make. All right. Oh, and that was it. That will do it, guys, for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show a part of your day. Big special thank you to the thousands of you guys in the live chat. That just makes it an additional level of a lot of fun for us to do the show, being able to read along with your conversations and everything in there as well. Really enjoy it. Also, big thank you to those of you who sent in the super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. By the way, normally I do open spoiler discussions on the Sunday after a big movie opens. I will not be doing that for the Odyssey this Sunday because my D&D group is coming over for a barbecue. We're watching the World Cup finals. We're watching House of the Dragon, and then we're playing Dungeons and Dragons. So not just too busy of a Sunday to do an open spoiler discussion. So I will do an Odyssey open spoiler discussion on Monday evening. So normally we do them on Sundays, but we're going to do them this time on Monday evening. Hope that'll give you guys plenty of time to go see the movie, and then we'll talk about it all together on Monday night. All right, guys, that will do it for me. Thank you to Jonathan again. Thank you once again to Chris from 3C Films for being here. Don't forget, Monday, we're going to have Christian Harloff is going to be joining us on the show on Monday. I'm looking forward to that. Thanks a lot for being here, guys. My name is John Campea, and until next time, my brethren, bye-bye.